Welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into one of the most infamous mysteries in history, Jack the Ripper. This case was baffled the experts all for over 130 years and still sends chills down our spines. Who was this shadow figure that terrorized London in 1888? Why were his crimes so brutal? And why can't we solve this mystery even with modern technology? Buckle up, because we are about to take a journey back in time to explore the terrifying tale of Jack the Ripper. Let's start by setting the stage. It's the late 1800s and London is booming as the largest city in the world. But while the rich were enjoying benefits, the poor were living in extreme poverty. The East End, particularly Whitechapel, was one of the most overcrowded and poverty-stricken areas in the city. Imagine narrow, dirty streets filled with people struggling to survive, including many women who turned to prostitution, just to afford a roof over their heads. This was the green backdrop of the Ripper's bloody rampage. Between August 31 and November 9th, 1888, 5 women were brutally murdered in Whitechapel. These women, Marianne Nicholas, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Marianne Kelly are known as. Their murder was shockingly violent. The killer would attack them with a knife, cutting their throats and cutting their bodies. What made these crimes even more terrifying was the skill and precision used, suggesting that the killer has some medical knowledge. Let's take a closer look at the lives of the Ripper's victims, because they were more than just names on the list. Marianne Nicholas was the first known victim. She was a mother of 5 who had fallen on hard times and struggling with alcoholism. Annie Chapman, the second victim, has also faced many hardships. She was separated from her husband and living in a lodging house when she was killed. Elizabeth Stride was different from the other victims. She was found in only her throat cut, suggesting the Ripper might have been interrupted. Catherine Eddowes, killed on the same night as Stride, had been released from the police custody just a few hours before her death. Finally, Marianne Kelly was the last victim and the youngest victim. She was found in her small room, murdered in the most gruesome way. Their stories are heartbreaking, harsh realities of the life in Victorian London. The police were desperate to catch Jack the Ripper. The murders caused widespread panic, and the public demanded action. The newly formed police force, led by Inspector Frederick Aberline, launched a massive investigation. They interviewed over 2,000 people and detained more than 80 suspects. But despite their efforts, they couldn't catch the killer. The investigation faced many challenges. For one, there was no advanced forensic techniques back then, no DNA testing, no fingerprints, nothing like that. The police also had to deal with media frenzy and public pressure, which made their job even harder. To make things even worse, the killer seemed to be taunting them. Several letters, supposedly from Jack the Ripper himself, were sent to the police and the newspapers. The most famous of these letters, which came with half a human kidney, supposedly taken from one of the victims. Let's talk a bit more about these letters. There were hundreds of letters sent to the police, but only few are considered potentially real. The first one was the Dear Boss letter, in which the writer first used the name Jack the Ripper. Then there was the Saucy Jackie postcard, which referred to the murder of Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes. Finally, the From Hell letter is the most chilling, mainly because it was accompanied by the piece of a kidney. But what are these letters really from the killer? We don't know. But they are certainly added to the legend of the Jack the Ripper and made the police job even harder. Now let's get into the suspects, because there are no shortage of them. Over the years there have been more than 100 different suspects of being Jack the Ripper. One of the main suspects was John Drutt, a barrister and a school teacher who drowned shortly after the murders stopped. Some believe he might have been mentally unstable and took his own life to escape capture. Another popular suspect is Aaron Kosminski, a Polish immigrant who lived in the Whitechapel. He was known as to be mentally ill, had a documented hatred of women. There is even theory involving the royal conspiracy, suggesting that Prince Albert Victor, the Duke of Clarence, was the Jack the Ripper, or the murders was carried out by a cover-up and a scandal involving him. Other suspects, including Dr. Francis Tumbley, an American quack doctor who was in London at the time, and Walter Schickert, a famous painter who some believe left clues in his artwork. The problem is, there is not solid evidence against any of them. Each theory has its own holes, which is why the mysteries remain unsolved. One of the big questions is, why did the murder stop? There are few theories. Some think the Ripper may have died or been arrested for another crime, and others believe he was institutionalized or moved away from London. There is even a theory that the Ripper was a sailor and simply left the city on a ship. But again, these are just theories. We don't have the clear answers. With advances in forensic science, there has been attempts to solve this case. In 2014, researchers claimed to have identified Aaron Kosminski as the Jack the Ripper using DNA evidence from a shawl supposedly found at one of the crime scenes. But these claims has been widely disputed, with many experts questioning the reliability of the evidence. The truth is, the Ripper case is over 130 years old, and a lot of evidence has been lost over time. So while it's fun to speculate, it's unlikely we never have a definitive answer. Jack the Ripper has become more than just a killer. He's a legend, a symbol of evil and mystery. His story has been told and retold in countless books, movies and TV shows. Why are you so fascinated by him? Maybe it's because we have fear of the unknown, or maybe it's because we love good mystery. Whatever the reason is, Jack the Ripper remains one of the most talked about criminals in history. So, will we ever truly know who Jack the Ripper was? Maybe not, but one thing is for sure. His story will continue captive and terrify us for years to come. What do you think? Do you have any theories about who Jack the Ripper is? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most fascinating mysteries. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.